Welcome back to another video, guys. So as you saw from the last video, we took the fuel tank off, and basically, as you can see from my skin, I've been on holiday. So yeah, it's been a couple of weeks, but I'm just trying to do a little bit in the evening now. Basically what I managed to get was some rust treatment for the car. So I got some of this Fortress rust eradicator stuff, so I have no idea if it's any good, but I thought I'd give it a go. Just apply it and then you wipe it off in 30 minutes or so. You let it sort of work in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it to all these small areas here, and then all these small areas up here, anywhere I can see any small rust areas, and then all up on this frame rail, and try and clean that up. Basically, I'll get a light on it now. Okay guys, so yeah, we got a light now. So this is how I left it before I went on holiday. So we've got that frame rail just there. That obviously needs quite a bit of work. So yeah, it's looking quite nasty. So what I'm going to do is just have a little flick at this with like a scraper, have a go at it, and then I'm going to try and treat it with some of this this rust repair, and just see if we can make some of this steel a little bit stronger than what's on there, and go from there basically. So yeah, like I say, give it 30 minutes and we'll come back to it and we'll assess what it's done. Hopefully this stuff's any good basically, because otherwise I've got 750ml of wallpaper paste that does nothing. So yeah, we're going to chuck it on now. Like I say, we've got gloves on, and then what I've been told, because I haven't used this stuff before, you need to put it in like its own separate pot, because then when you dip the brush back in, if you get any rust that's on your brush that you dip back into the main pot, then starts creating that, the chemical reaction, and then obviously spoils the whole pot. So make sure you use a pot that's separate and go from there. So I've just finished brushing it all on, and yeah, we've got a little bit on all the sort of small spots. I'm trying to really sort of test this this product, but I'm not really feeling like it would do a lot really, considering what type of rust is there. Obviously I know I've got to weld new panels in, but I want to try and treat all the smaller areas around it for anywhere that I can't obviously cut out, and try and make them stop rusting basically, so that they stop completely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some measurements of this rail here, the chassis rail. I'm going to get sort of a width and a depth, and then a length along here, and then I'm going to try and get some made up, and probably get a pair made up so I can do the other side, and try and do some sort of repair panel work really. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to underline all this with like well, I've got underseal basically in a spray can. So once that's all done, it will just be undersealed completely, and then that should hopefully hold up to test the time. But like you can see there, been taking out lumps of metal like that, pretty big pieces. But I've just used a small part of that cup with a paintbrush, and just try to get it in all the holes in here, and try and treat it so that when I do cut this out, that I can see what's actually too far gone and what's actually usable out of this box section. So I can cut back obviously as far as I want, and there is a bit of rust at the back there, so I'm hoping that'll treat it, because I don't want to go all the way back. And then we can cut out probably up to about this hole here, and re-weld all this area here where it's really completely gone. So yeah, I'm going to leave like this, and we'll come back to it probably on another day. Let this just do its work, and we'll see if it's any good. If it don't work, it don't work. I won't reuse any of it. just have to go back to the old method of scraping it all down with wire brushes and grinding out any of the rust basically with like a brush, and do it all sort of like I say manually, and do it a bit sort of basically try and do it like that basically, so that it has a chance of stopping it from rusting basically. So yeah, that's the route I'm going, and yeah, I'll leave it like that for now. Okay guys, so it's been about half an hour or so, and yeah, doesn't look like it's doing much other than taking off the initial brownness of the actual stuff. So I'm going to wipe it all down and go from there and see what we're left with. But I've got a tape measure, and then what I'm going to do is measure this these rails and see if I can get something made up that's of a similar size basically, and yeah, go from there. So I've had the angle grinder basically going at this for a little bit, and then I've just been poking at the rest of it. So what we've got here is a very bad chassis rail. So yeah, I've just been poking along at this parts and trying to clean up what I can out of here. But I've taken the measurements, and then like I say, I'll probably cut somewhere down here and just see if any of this steel is actually any good for anything. So it's not looking too great at the minute, but we'll see what we can salvage out of some of it. I'm going to try and cut some of this out. Okay guys, so yeah, with a bit of cutting and a bit of cleaning up, I've cut out all the rotten rust. So all of this here and these large pieces here, and then all I've done is basically cut back to here where it was double skinned, and then just cut across and just cut a lot of the rot out. A lot of this isn't too bad. I've cleaned a lot of it up, and then all I've done is applied a second coat of that rust inhibitor all inside the actual chassis leg itself, both sides and on that side as well where it's actually quite bad. So if you can see that there, this section here is quite bad, so this will be all cleaned up, ground down, and then what I'm going to do is put a really thick like 5mm plate on the end here, and then I'm probably going to do what I did originally. And what I wanted to do originally was, I've got 2 bits of angle, stick them inside this section here and this section, run it along here so you've got an edge to work the sheet metal on, and then fold the sheet metal over that, and then butt it up against these lips here, and then just weld it to that, and then seam seal the whole lot. So hopefully this should last hopefully another 10 years or so, or if not longer, you know, as long as possible. So yeah, I'm going to leave this like this for now. It is dripping a bit. It says it's supposed to be non-drip, but I did probably put it on quite liberally. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. Like I say, it's just going to take a bit of time, and I've got the angle already, so I can put that in. It's about 4mm thick, so that shouldn't rust through for a long time. And I'm going to stick it down as far as I can, and then just, like I say, weld it to this end with a 5mm plate at that end, and then just fold the sheet metal around that so it will hide it and box it all in. But it should be nice and rigid, nice and strong, and then I can actually I've got something quite strong to weld to behind it so that I don't burn through this steel on top. And then I'll just get some seam sealer and go around the whole lot basically, and just seam seal the whole lot back in. But that's how it's looking. That's the other side there. So yeah, it's working quite well. It seems to be working. It's just sort of turning it sort of a brown colour really. I don't know if it's just taking off the surface sort of initial crud, but yeah, it seems to be working really well. I did take an angle grinder to most of this to get rid of the majority of it. There was quite a heavy under sort of seal on the bottom of this car, like almost like a really thick bed liner actually underneath the car, come off in this like sort of weird large chunks of this, which looks good. It looks like it would have, you know, made it last quite a long time, but once it breaks the seal, the water just gets underneath it. So like you can see there, it's quite thick stuff. It's almost like 4 or 5 mil thick, but just wasn't enough. So yeah, we're gonna let all this get treated, and we'll come back to it another day.